So, picture this. Me, a guy who's had it up to here with city noise, cubicle life, and the general soul-sucking grind, inheriting a lakeside cabin from my eccentric Uncle Mort. The man was a legend, lived off the grid, fished for his supper, and probably argued with squirrels for fun. The cabin was my ticket to freedom, a cozy shack nestled by a glassy lake, surrounded by pines that whisper sweet nothings in the breeze. My plan: move in, fish my days away, maybe grow a beard that says, "I'm one with nature, deal with it." Pure, unfiltered bliss. Or so I thought. I roll up to the property on a crisp Saturday, my pickup loaded with dreams and a cooler of beer. The cabin's exactly as I pictured: weathered wood, a sagging porch that's got character, and a dock stretching out into the lake like it's begging for a fishing pole. But as I step out, my boots crunch on something that's not pine needles. I look down. A crushed Solo cup. Then another. A half-eaten hot dog bun. A plastic fork stabbed into the dirt like it's marking a crime scene. My serene sanctuary looks like the aftermath of a frat party that got lost in the woods. I spend hours cleaning up: chip bags, beer cans, a single glittery flip-flop that's seen better days. I'm muttering to myself, who even does this? Who treats someone's private property like a landfill? By the time I'm done, I've got 3 trash bags and a grudge. I figure it's kids, maybe some local yahoos who don't know the place has an owner now. No biggie. I'll move in next weekend, set up some no trespassing signs, and scare off the riffraff with my sheer aura of "don't mess with me." That's when I hear it. A roar like a bear with a vendetta, except it's not a bear. It's an SUV barreling out of the woods, kicking up dust like it's auditioning for a Mad Max sequel. The vehicle screeches to a stop, and out storms her. Oh, you know the type. Sunglasses perched on her head like a crown, a purse that costs more than my truck, and a face that says, "I've already decided I hate you." Karen. HOA Karen, to be precise. I didn't know her name yet, but her vibe screamed it loud enough. "Who are you?" she shrieks, stomping toward me like I'm a raccoon caught in her recycling bin. "This is private property under HOA jurisdiction. You need to leave now." I blink, caught off guard. HOA? On my land. I inherited this place free and clear, no covenants, no restrictions, just me and the lake. I pull out the deed, still crisp from the lawyer's office, and wave it like a white flag. "Ma'am, I'm the owner. This is my property. Care to explain why it looks like a tailgate party exploded here?" She snatches the deed, scans it, and her face twists like she bit into a lemon. "This is nonsense," she snaps, tossing it back. "We've always used this land. The dock, the shore, it's practically community property." I glance around at the freshly cleaned yard, my blood pressure ticking up. "Yeah, I noticed. Took me 3 hours to clean up your community contributions. You're lucky I'm not sending you a bill." Her eyes narrow, and she jabs a manicured finger at me. "This isn't over," she hisses, then storms back to her SUV, leaving a cloud of dust and entitlement in her wake. I stand there, deed in hand, watching her taillights vanish into the trees. Well, I mutter to myself, this is gonna be fun. I know her type. I've read the Reddit threads. HOA Karens don't back down. They double down, triple down, until they're drowning in their own self-righteous fury. I head back to the city, already planning my move for next weekend. But in the back of my mind, I know this isn't the last I'll see of her. And hell, I'm right. Fast forward to the next weekend. I'm back at the cabin, my truck now packed with enough boxes to make a moving company jealous. Books, fishing gear, a coffee maker that's seen me through too many all-nighters. I'm ready to start my new life, to sip coffee on the dock at sunrise, maybe even learn to whittle or some other rustic nonsense. But as I pull up, my heart sinks faster than a lead sinker. The yard, which I'd left spotless, looks like a music festival and a landfill had a baby. More Solo cups, a broken lawn chair, and, oh joy, a deflated kiddie pool tangled in the bushes. These people didn't just ignore my warning. They threw a full-on rager to spite me. I'm not proud of it, but I spend a good 10 minutes cursing the sky, the lake, and whoever invented HOAs. I mean, really, who looks at a pristine lakeside property and thinks, you know what this needs? More trash and a power-tripping Karen. I start cleaning again, my mood swinging between rage and grim determination. As I'm bagging up the mess, styrofoam plates, a lone sock, and what I hope is just ketchup smeared on a tree, I find it. A crumpled flyer, half buried under a pile of beer cans. It's written in Comic Sans, because of course it is, and it reads, "Don't forget. Next weekend, biggest party yet. Dancing on the dock. Bring everyone." The words, HOA Social Committee, are scrawled at the bottom, along with a smiley face that feels like a personal insult. I sit back on my heels, the flyer crinkling in my fist. My blood's boiling, but a grin creeps across my face. "Oh, Karen, you sweet, delusional tyrant. You've just handed me the playbook. A big party? On my dock? With everyone? This isn't just trespassing anymore. It's a declaration of war. And I'm not the guy who rolls over. I'm the guy who reads property law for fun, who once won an argument with the city clerk over a parking ticket because I cross-referenced the municipal code. Karen and her HOA minions have no idea who they're dealing with. I spend the rest of the day cleaning, but my mind's elsewhere, spinning up a plan. I'm not talking about petty revenge like slashing tires or spray painting Karen slucks on the dock. Though, don't get me wrong, the thought crosses my mind. No, I want something elegant, something that'll hit them where it hurts, their pride, their precious little HOA social status. I drive back to the city that night, my brain buzzing with ideas. By Monday, I'm at the hardware store, picking up supplies. Nothing crazy, just a sturdy buoy, some heavy-duty rope, and a few tools that'll come in handy. I also swing by the county office to double-check my property lines. Spoiler: the dock, the shore, every blade of grass, mine. No HOA jurisdiction, no community property, nonsense. Just mine. I spend the week prepping, smirking to myself as I imagine Karen's face when she realizes she's not the queen of this lake. By Friday, I'm back at the cabin, setting up my little surprise. The dock's a beauty, solid, floating, tethered to the shore with ropes that are just a tad too loose for my liking. I fixed that, but not in the way you'd expect. I attach a long rope to the dock's far end, run it out into the lake, and tie it to the buoy I planned about 50 yards out. It's subtle, barely noticeable unless you're looking for it. I test the setup, give the dock a tug, and grin. It's perfect. As I pack up to head back to the city, I glance at the dock, bobbing innocently in the water. "See you tomorrow," I mutter. "And Karen, you're in for a hell of a party." I drive off, the flyer tucked in my pocket like a battle plan. The tension's building, and I can feel it. Tomorrow's gonna be a day this HOA crew won't forget. They want to dance on my dock. Fine. I'll make sure it's a performance they'll be talking about for years. Saturday evening rolls around, and I'm back at the lake, my boat trailer hitched to the truck and my heart doing a little jig of anticipation. The sun's dipping low, painting the water gold, but I'm not here for the scenery. I park a half-mile away, out of sight, and hike through the woods to scope out the situation. As I crest the hill overlooking my property, I see it, the HOA's biggest party yet, in full swing. My dock, is a writhing mass of tipsy suburbanites, swaying to some god-awful cover band blasting Sweet Caroline, like it's their national anthem. Fairy lights are strung up, coolers are scattered on my shore, and there, holding court like she's Cleopatra reincarnated, is Karen. She's got a wine glass in one hand, a megaphone in the other, barking orders about where to put the charcuterie board. Charcuterie. On my dock. The audacity. I crouch behind a tree, watching the chaos. These people have left their purses, jackets, and dignity on the shore, piling onto the dock like it's their personal dance floor. I spot a few familiar faces, local realtors, a guy who owns the car dealership in town, and, oh look, the HOA president himself, doing a tragic attempt at the Macarena. They're all blissfully unaware that they're trespassing, again, despite my very clear, very legal warning. I pull out my phone, start recording a quick video of the scene. Call it evidence, call it future blackmail, call it me being petty. Whatever. It's glorious. I slip away, circling around to the far side of the lake where my boat's waiting. It's a modest little skiff, nothing fancy, but it's got enough horsepower to pull off what I've got planned. I ease it into the water, quiet as a whisper, and start motoring toward the dock. The party's in full swing now, and nobody notices me. A couple of drunks on the dock's edge squint my way, wave like I'm their long-lost cousin, and go back to butchering the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm grinning so hard my cheeks hurt. This is too perfect. I glide up to the buoy I planted last weekend, the one tied to the dock with that long, sturdy rope. It's bobbing there, innocent as can be, while Karen's voice carries over the water, yelling about how someone's not respecting the vibe. Lady, you're about to get a vibe check you'll never forget. I cut the engine, grab the rope, and secure it to my boat's cleat. The dock's floating, held to the shore by a few loose tethers I adjusted yesterday. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make it cooperative. I give a gentle tug, testing the setup. The dock shifts slightly, and nobody notices. Perfect. I start the engine again, low and slow, and begin towing. The dock glides across the water, smooth as butter, carrying its cargo of dancing, oblivious HOA elites. I'm maybe 100 yards out when the first shouts start. Hey, what's happening? Is the dock moving? Karen's megaphone squawks. Who's doing this? Stop it right now. I bite my lip to keep from laughing out loud. Stop? Oh, honey, we're just getting started. By the time I've got the dock in the middle of the lake, the party's turned into a scene from a bad disaster movie. People are clinging to each other, drinks spilling, someone screaming about their new shoes getting wet. Karen's at the edge, shaking her fist like she's cursing Poseidon himself. I cut the engine, let the dock bob there, and lean back in my boat, phone still recording. Well, I call out, loud enough for them to hear. Looks like you folks needed a change of scenery. How's the view? The yelling gets creative. I'm called names I didn't even know existed, and Karen's leading the charge, her voice cracking as she demands I return this dock immediately or face consequences. Consequences? I've got the deed, the law, and a rope that says otherwise. I settle in, letting them stew, knowing the real show's just beginning. The sun's almost gone now, and the lake's getting chilly. Let's see how long their entitlement holds up against a night stranded on my floating justice platform. So there I am, lounging in my boat. The lake is calm as my conscience, while the HOA's finest are stranded on my dock, bobbing like a sad, drunken raft in the middle of nowhere. The sun's gone, leaving a twilight chill that's got to be sinking into their bones, especially Karen's, since her designer sundress isn't exactly rated for stranded-at-sea vibes. The yelling's died down, replaced by a mix of panicked whispers and the occasional sob. I'm not a monster, so I've got my phone's flashlight on, giving them just enough light to see me smirking. Y'all comfy out there? I call, my voice dripping with the kind of faux concern that'd make a Reddit thread proud. Need a blanket? Maybe some more charcuterie. Karen's megaphone is long gone, probably chucked into the lake in a fit of rage, but her voice still carries, shrill and desperate. You'll regret this, she screeches. Do you know who we are? You're ruining everything. Oh, I know exactly who you are, Karen. You're the lady who thought my property was your personal party venue, and now you're learning that actions have consequences. The rest of the crowd's less bold. Some guy's muttering about his lawyer, another's whines that he did not agree to this. I almost feel bad. Almost. I let them stew for a good hour, recording the whole fiasco. The dock's a pathetic sight now. Half the fairy lights are out. Someone spilled red wine that looks suspiciously like blood in the dim light, and the cover band's given up, their guitarist hugging his instrument like it's a life raft. I'm starting to think they've hit the bargaining stage of grief when Karen finally cracks. Okay, fine, she shouts, her voice wobbling. What do you want? I lean forward, resting my elbows on my knees, phone still rolling. Glad you asked, I say, loud and clear. Let's start with an apology. You and your little HOA posse have been trespassing on my property, ignoring my warnings, and treating my land like a dumpster. Admit it. On record. There's a long pause. I can practically hear her grinding her teeth from 50 yards away. The others murmur, some urging her to comply, others probably praying she doesn't drag them down with her. Finally, she speaks, her voice low and venomous. Fine. We may have used your land without permission, but you didn't live here. It was empty. I laugh, a sharp bark that echoes across the water. Oh, Karen, that's cute. You think empty means yours? Try again. Say it like you mean it, and maybe I'll consider towing you back before the mosquitoes eat you alive. Another pause, longer this time. The dock's starting to look like a scene from Lord of the Flies, with people huddling together, shivering, and throwing desperate glances my way. Karen finally speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. We trespassed. We shouldn't have. We're sorry. The last word sounds like it physically pains her, and I savor every syllable. Good enough, I say, hitting stop on the recording. Now let's make this official. I pull out my phone again, not to record, but to dial the sheriff's office. Karen's eyes widen, even from this distance, as she realizes this isn't ending with a quick tow back to shore. What are you doing? She squeals. You can't call the cops. Already did. I reply, cheerful as a morning talk show host. See, I'm not a fan of repeat offenders. You got a warning, you ignored it, and now you're literally floating on my property. Sheriff's gonna love this story. As I wait for the cavalry, I keep an eye on the dock, making sure nobody gets any bright ideas about swimming. The water's cold, and these folks aren't exactly Olympic material. Most of them look like they haven't seen a pool since the 90s. The tension's thick now, not just on the dock, but in my own chest. I'm committed, but there's a tiny voice in my head wondering if I've gone too far. Then I remember the ketchup-smeared tree, the deflated kiddie pool, and Karen's smug face when she told me, this isn't over. Nah, this is exactly the right amount of far. The sheriff's lights flash in the distance, and I know the final act's about to begin. Karen and her crew are about to learn that my dock isn't just a party spot. It's a lesson in boundaries, and I'm one hell of a teacher. The sheriff's patrol boats cut through the lake like knights in shining, well, fiberglass, their lights flashing like a disco for justice. I ease my boat toward the shore, towing the dock back to its rightful place. The HOA crew still huddled on it like shipwreck survivors who just realized the buffet's closed. Karen's face is a masterpiece of defeat. Her makeup's smudged, her hair's a frizzy mess, and her sundress looks like it's auditioning for a role in a swamp monster flick. The others aren't faring much better. The car dealership guy's clutching his soggy loafers, the HOA president's muttering about legal ramifications, and the guitarist still cradling his instrument like it's the only thing keeping him sane. I'm trying not to grin too hard as I tie the dock back to its moorings, but it's tough. This is peak Reddit material, and I'm living it. Sheriff Daniels steps onto the shore, a grizzled guy who looks like he's seen every small-town drama, and then some. He takes one look at the dock, then at me, and lets out a low whistle. Well, damn, he says, scratching his chin. When you said trespassers on a dock, I didn't picture this. You really towed him out there. Yup, I reply, handing him my phone with the video and Karen's recorded confession. Got the deed, the property lines, and their admission of guilt. These folks thought my land was their personal party spot. I just gave him a little perspective. Daniels watches the video, his lips twitching like he's fighting a laugh. He glances at the dock, where Karen's now trying to rally her troops with a weak, "This is outrageous," but nobody's buying it. They're too busy shivering and avoiding eye contact. The sheriff hands me back my phone and calls over his deputies. All right, folks, he booms, let's get your names and statements. And no, you can't just talk to my lawyer. We're doing this now. The deputies start taking names, and it's like watching a who's who of the town's self-proclaimed elite crumble. Karen's first, stammering through her explanation of how the dock was basically community property and how I'm overreacting. Daniels raises an eyebrow. Ma'am, you're standing on his dock, on his land, after he told you to stay off. That's not community anything. That's trespassing, and you're lucky he didn't press charges the first time. I lean against my truck, arms crossed, savoring the moment. The deputies work through the crowd, jotting down names and issuing warnings for criminal trespass. A few try to argue, but the sight of Karen's defeated slump shuts them up fast. One guy, the realtor, tries to pull the "Do you know who I am?" card, and Daniels just sighs. Yeah, I know who you are, Bob. You sold me my house. Now sit down and wait your turn. By the time they're done, the dock's empty, the party's a distant memory, and Karen's crew is a soggy, humiliated mess piling into their cars. Daniels walks over to me, shaking his head. Gotta say, son, this is one for the books. Whole town's gonna be talking about the night the HOA got stranded on a lake. He pauses, a glint in his eye. You planned this pretty good. Ever think about running for sheriff? I laugh. Nah, I'm just here for the fishing. But I'm hoping this sends a message. Daniels nods, climbs into his patrol car, and drives off, leaving me alone with my cabin, my dock, and a story that's already writing itself in my head. The fallout's swift and glorious. By Monday, the town's buzzing. Reddit would eat this up, but I'm keeping it local for now. The HOA board, including Karen, faces a PR nightmare. Half of them resign within a week, citing personal reasons, but everyone knows it's because nobody wants to be associated with the Great Dock debacle. Karen's the last to go, packing up her SUV and leaving town with her tail between her legs. Rumor has it she tried to start fresh in another county, but the internet's a cruel mistress. Someone posted my video on X, and now her face is a meme titled Karen Adrift. I hear she's planning another move, maybe to a place without Wi-Fi. Good luck with that. As for me, I'm finally living the dream. Mornings are coffee on the porch, afternoons are fishing off the dock, and evenings are quiet, save for the occasional kid begging for a boat ride. I oblige, towing them around the lake, their laughter echoing where Karen's screams once did. The dock's mine again, the land's clean, and the HOA knows better than to mess with me. Justice doesn't always float, but when it does, it's one hell of a ride. Thank you for being with us. Please share in the comments where you are watching from and whether you liked everything, and see you next time.